DeSanto Propane is 4 generations strong as a trustworthy, family-owned business with unmatched customer service. Go online at DeSantoPropane.com for more info or call toll-free at 1-800-752-4574 today. Since 1937, the difference has been DeSanto Propane.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into the FL1 Betting Podcast here on FingerLakes1.com. Paul Russo, Jim Sinicropi, and Kyle Evans here with you as always. The NFL continues to roll on. Week 17. I'm going to dip into a little bit of one of the other podcasts we do here. If you listen to our Bills Weekly podcast, we're going to talk a little bit about how to prepare for some of these games where for one team it doesn't really matter anymore. And how to handle that. Take a look back, obviously, at our week 16 picks and then week 17 in the NFL. But first, thank a couple more of our sponsors here, including Dewey's Tavern within walking distance from downtown Second Falls, just across the Bridge Street Bridge. Play quick draw, lottery, 19 televisions for all your sporting needs. Great food for lunch or dinner, bocce, dart, and pool leagues. You can check them out online at deweysthirdward.com. And the Lux Hotel and Conference Center, your next great location for overnight stay, wedding, event, reception, meeting space, and more. On-site food and beverage at Woody's Bar and Grill. Find everything you're looking for in one spot. You can contact them today to inquire about your next opportunity. So, it's been an interesting few days. We'll get into more about all that too and how we maybe handled or didn't handle betting NFL on Christmas properly. Let's take a look, though, at Week 16 because if you're me, for example, I hope you're back to doing the Fade Paul train because we have gone off the rails impeccably once again.
Steelers were a huge disappointment.
Yeah, Steelers have just been awful.
At home, no less.
Yeah. Well, that was the Baltimore game on Saturday.
Oh, yeah. And then since then, they've, I bet Steelers both of those games, man, I don't know why.
And then the Giants, we had hope for about 5 minutes, and that was about it. But the Panthers, on the other hand, they were outright winners against Arizona, so that was fantastic there. Jim, for you, the
college games until that Ohio State-Tennessee game went way over. But
that was really the only true, really outright one that I would even call a whiff, because other than that, you were dead on the other two.
The other two were easy ones.
Yeah.
But I also bet a parlay on the NFL where I had Panthers money line. I do money line parlay sometimes. I took Panthers on the money line, and sure enough, I was looking pretty good until Jalen Hurts got hurt, and that was my one loss of it was a 6-leg parlay.
Yeah, Jim, I'd apologize, but I like winning too much as a fan for that one. So
yeah, that's crazy, and the fumbles.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But luckily for you, you weren't.
Or Devontae Smith dropped that ball.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, luckily for you, Jim, you're not alone in that boat because Kyle, you had the Eagles, and you told me off air, this was your worst week pretty much in borderline half a season, I believe.
Yeah, Week 8 was my last losing week.
Halloween.
Just tough. Commanders, that late comeback, and then the Buccaneers, a no-show. No show on Sunday.
Oh, that was the worst, too. Well, the thing is, they had the game in control, and then Baker Mayfield did that crazy flip pass that was fumbled by Rashad White.
Yep.
And on top of that, you still thought they were going to win when they threw the touchdown to Nate McMillan, and ends up Bland stripped the ball from him.
Yeah.
I mean, that Eagles game and Bucks were two of the baddest beats I've had in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't get much better this week for football in terms of viewing experiences anyway. And
Sort of NFL. What did you guys think of Netflix?
Okay, so I wanted to talk about this for sure a little bit. I thought the production was great. I thought way crisper. They whatever issues they had, behind the scenes during the Tyson Paul
The
fight.
NFL wasn't going to let that go well.
But it got ironed out, right?
Yeah, it was good.
It was great.
Good broadcast.
I thought the graphics package was pretty good.
Yeah, it looked a little weird seeing the Netflix logo before replays and stuff, but get used to it.
I apparently I'm in the minority on this. I thought the broadcasting crews were. I didn't think they were bad, but there was a weird chemistry stuff going on.
Yeah, you build chemistry with your broadcast partners, and that was all a new, hodgepodge.
Yeah. Right
down to the studio hosts and the stupid cake at the end of the game. That Kansas City game.
I did like Noah Eagle and Greg Olson together.
Yeah.
I thought they were good. But the Iron Eagle, Nate Burleson, JJ Watt grouping was.
Nate Burleson was overworked. He does he's on every single
CBS morning show.
Football, NFL Today.
Yeah.
And then he's doing Netflix stuff. But I think Netflix should make a sports brand, so it should be like NSN, like Netflix Sports Network or something. Other than that, when I think of Netflix, I think of entertainment and movies. I think they should brand it for sports because we're going to get more.
You can tell ever since they dipped into doing the, the foul-alongs for the season's beginning, I guess, really technically with F1, to golf. They do one with NASCAR now. They picked up an IndyCar one. They handle pretty much all the motorsports stuff. And then also they really have dipped in now to the sports documentary side as well. I mean, that probably is their next big play. I mean, they even admitted that they want to get more in on the
more live sports
market. So
yeah, and they got the funds to do it. So everything's going to bid up. Everybody's going to make more money. But as far as the product on the field goes, I think that having 2 games on Wednesday, it was just so stupid.
Yeah. Stupid. Next year, Christmas falls on Thursday.
Yeah.
So they're going to. Let alone Thursday night football. There's going to be, I'm guessing, at least
it'll be like
more
Thanksgiving
games before
this
that.
year. They're going to move Amazon's game to Friday, and Netflix will probably pick up 2 or 3 games on Christmas Day.
Yeah,
that's what I predict.
I don't know. The football was a tough hang too, just from a viewing perspective.
Well, I don't know. Christmas, a lot going on. It wasn't a day where I was able to just sit in front of the TV and watch those games from start to finish. I could do without it. And then there was the NBA games, of course, which is more natural, I think. I don't know. I just think the NFL is not doing themselves a service from a competitive balance standpoint, having games on Wednesdays. Crap what the Chiefs had to do and what all those teams had to do, but especially the Chiefs.
Yeah, did you see the final results? The Ravens and Chiefs went 3-0 over that stretch.
Yeah, amazing.
But the Steelers went 0-3 and the Texans went 1-2.
Yep.
And the Broncos also had a 2-game in 4 days stretch, and they went 1-1.
And then you got in a tough game
lost
this
the
week
Chargers.
Too. Yeah, it just doesn't seem fair. But money's king. And the NFL has more of it than anybody, and they can keep selling packages to whatever streaming outlet they want.
Yeah, 24 million views per game, roughly, they estimated. Of course, quadrupled the NBA some of their games.
Yeah, NBA. I think
LeBron said it's our day.
Yeah, sure it is. LeBron, go away. Nobody likes you anymore. Nobody ever liked you. At least I never did.
Lakers Warriors game was probably the best one. I don't know if you tuned in, Paul.
Steph Curry had a big shot.
Most entertaining for sure.
Sicko. I don't know if it's sicko me, but I
got the most views.
I thought Denver Phoenix was the best game in terms of from start to finish, but
I don't know, and it was the lowest view by a lot. Only 3.8.
Stats that matter or maybe don't matter. Home teams that wore their natural home white jerseys Christmas Day in the NBA, 2-0. The home teams that wore their natural road uniforms, 0-3 as home teams. So
remember that for next Christmas.
Stats that matter. Do want to talk, like I mentioned a little bit. I dipped the toe into it a little bit. We talked some of it Monday on Bills Weekly, and what we kind of said probably would happen did happen with the Chiefs wrapping up the 1 seed, meaning the Bills can't get to the 1 seed anymore.
But they can lose.
They aren't technically landlocked at 2.
No, if they lose their next 2 games and Baltimore wins their next 2 games, then the Baltimore will be 2 seed.
Yeah.
Baltimore actually only has 1 left since they already played this week.
Oh yeah, I keep
So
it.
they
Yeah,
just have
that's
to
a
beat
this week
Cleveland.
game.
So if the Bills lose to the Jets and Patriots and Baltimore beats Cleveland next week, then they're the 2 and the Bills are the 3.
Yeah, I think if you're the Bills, you go out and beat the Jets this week, and then you rest next week.
Yep.
You can't rest this week.
Yeah.
But I could see them. Well, I don't know. You know, if you're a fantasy owner playing in the championship of your league, do you start Josh Allen against the Jets?
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to be like a normal game? Or you think they get out to a lead and maybe
Even if it is, I don't like his stats, his career stats against the Jets.
Yeah.
Well, if you're a fantasy owner, I don't think you have a choice but to start him.
Well, I'm in a situation where I'm not in the title game of my league, but we have a thing called a losers pool.
Right.
So I lost in the first round of the playoffs. So for the last 3 weeks, once the playoffs start, you use a cumulative score for all the teams that didn't make the playoffs and the teams that lost in the first round of the playoffs, and it basically pays for your entry next year. And so I have Josh Allen and Sam Darnold are my quarterbacks. And I'm going with Darnold, I think, against the Packers instead of Allen against the Jets.
Ooh. I
For
mean,
that same reason.
I don't hate it. I don't know. I just think you kind of ride with the guy who kind of got you there.
And it's kind of scary because we've seen the Bills, like I've said before, they win games running the ball, and if James Cook takes over, then Josh Allen isn't going to do a whole lot.
And Darnold's been having a great season.
Hey, just says he's going to air it out. You know what you're going to get from him.
Yeah, I think that game might be a shootout, that Minnesota-Green Bay game. It's in Minnesota.
I thought you were going to say, frankly, for a minute that the championship for week 18 people, I'm like, you are in a psycho league if you have your championship going to week 18 for fans.
Yeah, no, and most don't because you just can't. It's even tough to do at week 16, honestly, because of situations like this. But
yeah, I mean, it's an interesting, for fantasy, DFS, even obviously for betting purposes, how do you approach some of these games? And everybody has different philosophies. We've talked about a ton on here where people sometimes bet a few days in advance, wait right until kickoff, stuff like that. Obviously, in situations like this, you're going to see for sure Buffalo this week, more than likely, for example, right? At least start those guys and give them as much run as they probably will allow them to get until maybe something shows one way or another.
yeah, I don't think it'll be a blowout. When's the last time the Bills have blown out the Jets?
True.
So I think it'll be just a normal game for the Bills in terms of player usage and stuff. And I think it'll probably be a little lower scoring game than the Bills are used to.
Yeah, next week is the week that you tend to see more of this obviously occur. But it is funny because, like you said, Jim, my brain even Wednesday was registering those games as like week 16 games, not week 17 games.
This is dumb. It doesn't make sense. I don't like it. I don't like NFL every day of the week. I just like, the Thursday night game is one thing, whatever. You want to put a game on Thursday to kick off the week and give us something to watch, that's fine. But other than that, Sunday, Monday, Saturday, I don't even like Saturdays. I like it all on Sundays and Mondays, but what do I know? But I definitely don't like NFL games on Wednesdays.
Yeah, it was tough.
How about the Chiefs? They've played a game on every game this week except for Tuesday this year. Every day of the week this year, the Chiefs have played a game except for Tuesday.
Yeah, and I saw a stat. It's been like the first time in, 60, 70 years that it's happened in the NFL. There was I forgot the team. It was a team that doesn't even exist anymore. It was the last team that...
It was the New York Yankees.
Oh, yes.
Of football.
Yes.
The New York football Yankees.
Oh, yeah.
In like 19-something, 20-something.
Hey, I mean, the only other time, at least modern-wise, we've even got close to this was the COVID 2020 year where games just had to be moved to random dates because of outbreaks and stuff like that. So
I just think that the NFL needs to check themselves and because it's just unfair. The competitive balance is upset when you do that.
I mean, I said this yesterday on to Nick on Fresh Takes. I'm like, it's going to be interesting when we come around here in about 3 or 4 years where Christmas falls on a Tuesday, and what's the NFL going to do then? Because they're going to want to play games, but
they'll have games. So
the player, I can tell you this, I don't think the union's going to be down for it. That's for sure.
They were down for it this year.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Hey.
Tuesday's more manageable than Wednesday, right? Then you put it at the end of the week of games. So it's like...
Oh, well, schedule-wise, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about player health-wise, but, well. either way. Before we get to our picks, quickly, I guess maybe do a week recap here. I know, Kyle, for you, for example, you mentioned off air, and I'm going to bring it here much to whatever. You dipped your toes into college football betting this week, and I've never been more proud.
Yeah, the Hawaii Bowl, nothing else to watch. Got really bored. Turned it on. I think it was at the first overtime. So, of course, I don't know much about it, and I never expected it to even last as long as it did. So I live bet. Who did I live bet? I don't even remember the team I just live bet.
So
Whoever was down.
San Jose State and South
Somebody
Florida,
was-
right?
yeah.
Yeah, I think San Jose State was down in the first overtime. I live bet them. They tied the game, and I cashed out quickly. And this is funny. I won a lousy $3.67.
$3.67 you didn't have before.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I use that, of course, on the NFL for Christmas. But yeah, that was my first college football bet in a very, very long time.
You won it.
Welcome to college bowl season, Kyle.
Well, you talk about NFL players maybe sitting if their teams can't improve their position. You know, college football, who knows what the heck's going on? You have guys.
At this point, at least, it seems like we kind of know who's sitting and who's playing for everything else the rest of the way.
Well,
So,
tonight, Syracuse in the Holiday Bowl, like we're pretty much at full strength. Syracuse, that is, and
Yeah,
Washington
lied.
State's. Who knows? They might be getting guys off the.
I know that line, for example, not that
Walk-ons.
we can bet it here, obviously,
Right.
in New York, but I've noticed in like the
It's like
Pennsylvania
16?
market, it was at 16 to start the week, was at 16 and a half yesterday, and now best lines available in Pennsylvania, you can get Washington State plus 18, or you can lay 17 with Syracuse. So
I'd lay the
There's-
17.
there's a lot of money just completely shifting clearly to one side.
Graham Brown
Yep.
wants to get washed.
Well, about that, you see, he's allergic to eggs. So he will not be able to get the eggnog bath at the end of the game, potentially.
Graham Brown is allergic to eggs?
That's what he said in the press conference
Who the heck's
yesterday.
allergic to eggs?
A lot of people are, actually.
How do you live?
I don't know.
That means you can't have like cake.
I know. I know, but
Can't
I
have eggs, obviously. You can't have like custard. There's a lot of things that eggs are in.
hey, I don't
whatever.
make the rules on that one. You know, I just relay them. So apparently, if Syracuse wins, you'll see Dan Villari take the eggnog bath, the tight end. So hey, run Villari.
You said if.
If you never know,
They will win.
You never know. You still have to go out and play
No,
the
I know.
game. You know,
No, but I really don't think it's going to be close.
I've lived through enough Syracuse football at this point to know that I should still be gun shy.
No, not tonight. We're gonna freaking smoke them. We got Kyle McCord
Yeah.
in company.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun couple of weeks involving Syracuse football.
A fun couple weeks. Why?
I'm hopeful about the McCord stuff that's been going on, and
If McCord comes
Some-
back,
couple
are
more of
we
these
top
transfers.
10 preseason next year? Probably
I don't
not.
know about top 10, top 20 for sure
I
though.
don't know why we wouldn't be. I mean, maybe the yeah, I don't know. I'm excited about Syracuse football again. Thank God, because I'm not too excited about Syracuse basketball.
Yeah, I'm going to the game tomorrow for reasons as I call unknown. But me and the guy of football season tickets with, shout out to Hank. We go to a game every winter together for that. So the options at this point were obviously either that or Wake Forest was on the table New Year's Eve on Tuesday at 2:00 in the afternoon. But
So what game are you going to?
we're going tomorrow for the Bucknell game.
Oh,
Tickets are still technically cheaper, and
this should be a close one.
yeah. I have a weird, not like true connection to Bucknell, but road tripping. I go through Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, where they are, right through campus, and honestly, it's actually a beautiful campus. If you
Yeah, it looks nice. I've been through many times.
So, shout out to the Patriot League. Anyway, I've stayed relatively quiet-ish. I've hit a couple same game parlays on a couple different football games, like each quarterback to get like 200 yards passing and pick a receiver on each team to get to 50 yards. It doesn't really net you a ton of money, but it kind of doubles up whatever you bet. So
Doubling up is
you
good.
You take it and go. You know, nothing wrong with that. So, and then Jim, you said at the top you were pretty much still doing the money line parlays pretty good the way it sounded for the most part there.
Well, yeah, you gotta win. You gotta hit like one of every 8 or 9 or 10 to make money doing that. So, and I have, but last week's was a heartbreaker.
Yeah. So, Jim, you won the week this week for our picks. So the option is yours. Pick first, defer. What do you want to do?
I'll defer because I got 4 picks here, so I won't double up if any of you guys.
Kyle, goes to you then. Pick first or defer?
College.
I'll let you go first.
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Fade Brigade here. So I got 2 college bowl games, 1 pro game. I'm gonna lay Miami 3.5 against Iowa State rather in the Pop-Tart Bowl. I think they're just gonna want to come out and do whatever. And
Well, Cam Ward's playing.
yeah, I mean, I got, frankly, as I call it, no rhyme or reason to these outside of.
He texted Shadur, Shakir, whatever his name is, Deion Sanders' son there, on Snapchat that he was playing and going to put on a show.
Yep. And speaking of that, I'm taking Colorado minus 3.5 against BYU. And that one's in the Alamo Bowl.
Okay.
So, I don't know. Again, no rhyme or reason. Fade me, obviously, is the play here anyway. And then my lone pro game, doing a homer pick here in a way, but I'm taking the Commanders minus 3.5 against the Falcons on Sunday night. So,
Wow.
we're going for
Michael
it, man.
Penix.
Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I know. It's gonna. That's the intriguing part of this matchup. If Cousins was starting, I might agree with you, but I get a feeling that the Falcons are energized, and that extra half a point's a lot.
They do control their destiny now in the playoffs. So
The Commanders.
Well, the Commanders do, but the Falcons are the one that's really intriguing because Commanders will kind of know what they'll have to do Sunday night before the game anyway, because they're in via Buccaneers loss or they win outright
Right.
against the Falcons.
But
So.
the Bucks play the Panthers.
Yes, correct. So
So
a very scrappy Panthers.
both teams are probably going to need to win.
Yep. All right, Kyle, you're up, man.
All right, let's lead it off with the Saturday slate tomorrow. I'm going to take the night game. The Rams have still a lot to play for. Cardinals don't. minus 6.5, but I think you can get a better line because it's already changed on me as of today. Last night I had it, I thought at 5.5, and then I refreshed and it was 6.5.
Yeah, best line available, 6.5, man.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll still stick with that then. And then I'm going to keep rolling with the team that's won me a lot of money this year. The Green Bay Packers going to Minnesota. I'm going to take them -1.
Well, I have news for you.
What's up?
I can get you a +1.
All right. Perfect.
Yeah, I had Vikings -1.
And then for the final one, I'm going to take the Monday night game. I'm going to do Lions -3.5 at the 49ers. The Lions are still fighting for the division with the Vikings. And if the Vikings do beat the Packers, man, that game is going to be huge Monday night.
Yep.
So I'm going to roll with those. If I lose again, I'll be shocked. I haven't lost back-to-back weeks all year.
Yeah.
So let's roll.
Attaboy. All right, Jim. Falls on you.
Let's stick with some football teams playing in baseball stadiums. Saturday, a couple games on Saturday. Got the Bill Belichick. They will soon be Bill Belichick's North Carolina Tar Heels -3 against UConn in the Fenway Bowl. I don't know exactly why the line's only 3.
I can get you 2.5.
I'll take it. Yeah, ACC teams in bowl games against non-power conference, they usually do
They're
pretty well.
independent. UConn's independent, yeah.
So, anyways, we'll go with that one. And then we'll move it over to Yankee Stadium for the Pinstripe Bowl, and we'll go Nebraska -3.5 against Boston College, unless you can get me a better line there, too.
Unfortunately, I cannot.
The Cornhuskers haven't played in a bowl game since 2016.
Crazy.
So sometimes you think about, like, the state of Syracuse football program, where we've played in a few bowl games, more than a handful, actually, since 2016. And then you got programs like Nebraska. There's a lot of them out there.
It's what Tom Osborne gets.
So, anyways, Big Ten teams are 8-1 straight up and 7-2 against spread versus ACC teams in the last 9 years of the Pinstripe Bowl. So those Big Ten teams like coming to.
I lived through that.
They like coming to New York City, I guess.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna bet against Kyle. He was really happy and excited to take the Packers.
We have a block fight.
I'm going to take the Vikings -1 or whatever. Yeah,
I can get you
-1.
+1.5.
So we're both getting plus points on that bet?
That's
crazy to see.
That's the beauty of the finding the best lines available type thing.
Yeah, all right.
I can get you plus 1.5 on that.
I mean, Minnesota is arguably the best team in football, but they don't get that type of respect or clout. Yeah, Green Bay's been playing great too, no doubt. Quay Walker's hurt. Green Bay's best linebacker. I don't know if he's going to play or not.
What's the deal with Watson too?
Christian Watson was banged up last game.
I don't know if we have an update.
The Christmas kind of God, this sounds awful the way I'm phrasing it, but Christmas threw a wrench in like those injury reports for the week.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Because they had to do like hypotheticals for Wednesday or something like that. Like, it's crazy, but yeah.
The Vikings are 12-4 straight up as a home favorite under Kevin O'Connell. Green Bay's just 7-8 straight up when facing teams with winning percentages of 75% or better under Matt LaFleur. So there's some numbers for you. Also, LaFleur and the Packers are 4-6 straight up when facing a team that beat them as a favorite earlier this year, which the Packers did in Green Bay, or the Vikings did in Green Bay. Now they're back inside in Minnesota, and I like the Vikings. Yeah. I think it'll be a good game, and you're really picking the team to win, +1, -1. You know, you're trying to pick the team who's going to win here, so there's not much spread involved.
Yeah,
I don't think the 1 point will come into play.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy watching the shift kind of go both ways the past couple of days since obviously the lines became available, and
I think it's one of the best games of the year in terms of interest.
On paper, that's the thing with the NFL this year. On paper, I 100% agree with you, but man, I don't know. This is a rough.
I also like the over in that game.
This is a rough week overall in terms of trying to find, frankly, anything. Like we talked a little bit about it off air, but I mean, there's another game similar to this Minnesota Green Bay game bet wise that I'm just going nowhere near, and that is Tennessee and Jacksonville, where it's just like.
How so is that similar?
Best line.
That game sucks.
No, what I'm saying though is best lines available. Both teams are catching a point or 1.5 points, depending upon what book you're using.
Yeah, depending on which team sucks more.
Yeah, correct. Like it's Sunday is a rough football day.
Another bad one. Raiders, Saints.
Yeah.
Eagles are probably going to be without Hurts against the Cowboys. The over/under is now down to 38.5 for that game.
Yeah.
What else do we got?
Did you see? Now, Kyle, this is probably a name you don't recognize, but did you see who the Eagles brought in to be like the third string this week for them?
I forgot the name.
Ty Detmer?
No.
Is it Ian something?
Yeah, Ian Book from Notre Dame.
Yeah.
They are retreading out Ian Book.
Yeah, because Kenny Pickett's banged up too, but he is going to play. It's just,
there's no word yet if Hurts is even out.
No,
he's still in protocol.
It could be a late, like he could be ready to go at the last second, but
yeah, I just football. The viewing portion of football on Sunday is going to be a tough hang, I think.
I don't know. Got some action.
Colts Giants. Here's another one.
Yeah,
Giants still looking for their first win in 2.5 months almost now.
Newsflash: they ain't gonna get it.
That has the backdoor possibility of being Drew Lock, obviously for the Giants, versus Joe Flacco for the Colts.
I'll take Flacco.
Speaking of injury reports.
So you guys know I had some future bets going.
Yeah.
I cashed out one of them. It was a parlay between the Broncos over 5.5 wins, San Francisco under 11.5, and whoever the other one was. That paid like pretty well for me, and that's in the bank now. But I have two more open ones, and one of them that will not hit. Both of them probably won't, but I went over 1,000-yard rushers. Jonathan Taylor, check. Saquon Barkley, check. Bijan Robinson, check. Derrick Henry, check. Travis Etienne Jr.
Ooh, yep.
Not so much.
Yeah, he caught the injury bug plus the emergence via that of Tank Bigsby.
And that was a $10 bet to win $374. Thanks a lot, Travis Etienne. But, that's tough anyways because you need them all to stay healthy for the most part, although Taylor missed a few games. He still got it. So then the other one, the one that I have an outside chance of winning, is $10 to win 497. 5 or more touchdowns. George Kittle, check. Terry McLaurin,
Hell yeah.
check. Jackson Smith-Njigba, check. Devontae Smith, check. Keon Coleman, stuck at 3.
Ooh.
2 weeks left, though. I mean, he could get them both in one game, right?
It's true.
And
But
he might play the most over all the other receivers because he's a rookie and he just give him more time.
Well, he's not the only one. The other one, the one that I'm really disappointed in, is Jalen Waddle. He only has 2, so they got 2 more games left. He needs 3, and it could, like I said, it could happen. He could have a 3-touchdown game. He could have a 2-touchdown, 1 touchdown. But the way, I mean, since he had his huge year 2-3 seasons ago, he's been awful. Like from a fantasy sports perspective.
Yeah.
Well, he got 2 touchdowns all year. He plays on the Dolphins.
Yep.
I mean, come on.
He had the injury bug too, though, right?
Yeah, he was hurt a few times, but he's also on the field for probably at least 10 of the games.
Yeah.
Same for Tyreek Hill. He's been awful this year as well.
Yeah, and 2 touchdowns in 10 games if you're Jalen Waddle.
Yeah. I mean, the Dolphins as a whole this year have just been a misery pit, unfortunately.
So, yeah,
that.
it's those 2 aren't futures. Well, the one with ETN will not get 1,000 yards unless he goes off for like 600 against Tennessee. But this other one, there's an outside chance, but still not looking good. It's disappointing. There's always the 1 or 2 guys. I'm more disappointed in Waddle than Keon Coleman. And like I said, they still could hit it, but we're running out of time here.
Yeah. Well, hey, Jim, speaking of futures, seamless transition. Next week, we're not getting just one FL1 betting podcast. You're getting 2. So Monday, special Monday edition, where we'll be coming to you live at 2 p.m. For a little college football playoff.
No, we'll come early, right?
Oh,
We'll
do
do
you want
back
to
to back.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
back to back? Okay.
So maybe
I
like
thought
11?
you meant like the way we usually have it structured up anyway, but
Yeah, no, we might as well get it out of the way in the
All right,
morning
so-
when we're in the studio.
we'll call it 11-ish then.
Yeah, probably a little after.
Yeah, we'll call it 11-ish then. We'll college football playoff quarterfinal preview action. 4 of the 6 original bowl games of sorts coming to you on the New Year's Eve and day action slate. Looking forward to those games, so I'll leave it at that until we get to them on Monday. And then we'll have our normal Thursday episode of the podcast where we'll get into NFL Week 18 and whatever else kind of has action popped up on it at that
I
point.
think at that point, you start looking at the futures market
yeah,
for Super Bowl winners.
Yeah, at that point, the picture in theory should be clearer at that point.
This is, to me, is one of the most interesting NFL seasons in terms of, like, look at the AFC.
Oh, yeah.
Between the Bills, the Ravens, and the Chiefs. I mean, come on. And there's other teams in there that could play a bit of a spoiler, but right now, the Ravens look like the best team in the AFC.
Yeah.
And imagine if Cincinnati had a defense and if they were in the mix right now, 4
Yeah.
teams. And they probably will be
They
moving
might
forward.
be in the mix.
Like next year, oh yeah, they still could definitely get in, but like next year, I would expect Cincinnati to be back in the conversation. They'll fix their defense.
Last 2 years they've been heading into the season, one of those teams where they just haven't materialized due to injuries and but like the Ravens are the best team in the AFC right now. They've already beat the Bills pretty badly. They look great, right? The past couple times out against the Steelers and then the Texans.
They're different the last few games. They
Yeah.
got Hollywood Brown. They got Pacheco back. Xavier
Pacheco.
Worthy's getting more.
Oh, you're talking about
the
the
Chiefs?
Chiefs.
Oh.
They look different. They look better to me. They look like they can be more dangerous all of a sudden just by getting those 2 players back. I mean, they didn't have Pacheco forever.
Yeah, their defense
have
is still
Hollywood
good.
Brown.
I thought that maybe the not having Chris Jones against the Steelers would help Pittsburgh, but I mean the Chiefs were dominant, but the Ravens have been dominant, and then you got the Bills.
Yeah.
Noah Gray has just been huge
Nice
alongside
stepping
Kelsey.
up. Yep, I agree.
They
And
just look better all of a sudden offensively. So hopefully
I mean,
one of these teams can get them.
they talked about it on the broadcast, I know. But for those who maybe didn't watch the games on Netflix for whatever reason, they were talking pretty big about Hamilton being dropped from kind of a linebacker-ish hybrid role to being like a true deep safety for the Ravens. Now that's kind of been a pretty big catalyst for them defensively the past month or so. And
I think the short week helps better teams. I mean, that's what it appeared to be. Like Andy Reid just rolled with it.
I think it, if anything, it showed how much better certain coaches are than other coaches more than anything else. But I know I'm getting into a different territory a little bit there and everything, but
like I say, the AFC is going to be crazy.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you're the Bills, you want to be on the opposite side of, if possible, somehow to be on the opposite side of the Chiefs, but then get the Ravens up top with the Chiefs, but that doesn't look like it'll happen.
Yeah, they got to drop to the 3 seed for that to happen.
The Bills are going to probably have to beat the Ravens and the Chiefs to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And, boy, a few weeks ago, I would have felt a little more confident about it. But after what I've seen the past couple weeks, you know, if you're doing an AFC power ranking right now, it's tough not to have the Chiefs number one. I mean, my God, they've won 14 games. They're 14-1.
Yeah.
And most of them one-score games. I heard a stat that there's a lot of teams that have had a lot of one-score games this year. The Chiefs, maybe 12 of their 14, 15
it's been
games?
pretty much every single one.
11-0 in one score.
Yeah.
11-0.
And they're 15-1 on the year, by the way.
There's a lot of other teams that have had a lot of one-score games, whether it's Jacksonville or the Raiders. They all have 4 wins on the season.
Oh, yeah, I saw that stat.
It's crazy.
Yeah, they're 3 or 4 wins, every single one but the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So I go power, you know, if 3 weeks ago I would have said AFC power rankings, Bills, Chiefs, Ravens. Now I think I go Chiefs, Ravens, Bills. And that's upsetting if you're a Bills fan. This isn't a Bills podcast, but
What can I get for the Chargers? Anybody want to give me some stuff on the Chargers?
they crapped the bed this past week, right? Who did they play?
Yeah.
Can't remember, but they played Denver 9-10 days ago, and they beat them.
Yeah, that was good. And then they
played recently, didn't they? Yeah, didn't they lose?
They lost
I can't remember who.
a game that they probably should have won.
Nope, the Broncos game was the most recent.
Oh, really?
Yep, they lost 40-17 to the Buccaneers. 2 weeks
That was
ago.
the game I was thinking of. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, you can't trust Lamar in the playoffs. That's how I feel until he proves it. He's 2-4. He's looked awful. He's a turnover machine in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. And wouldn't that be
Until
great
he
if that
proves
comes
it,
true? If that comes true, just from what I've seen the past couple weeks, the Ravens look like they got it going.
It's all hypotheticals until we put it on the field.
Yep.
my
And then in the NFC, you got the Eagles.
Yeah.
If we're doing power rankings, number one, can anybody compete with the Eagles? Because I also think that Jalen Hurts is untested in the postseason.
We know exactly who can compete with the Eagles.
The Commanders?
Hell yeah.
I have a hot take on the NFC, and I'm probably going to throw that into our futures next week.
Oh.
Packers Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, that's a possibility. And again, here nobody talks about the Vikings.
Yeah.
But you can't feel too confident about the Commanders after the way that they had to win that game, and with Jalen Hurts leaving, Kenny Pickett coming in, and then they basically...
I didn't know those guys played defense, but continue.
Well,
Yeah, I don't trust the Commanders either in the playoffs.
no. The Commanders, if Hurts didn't get hurt, there's no way the Commanders win that game. And even with him getting hurt, they needed a drop ball from Devonta Smith that would have sealed the game. They needed a missed field goal. They needed a Hail Mary types of situations. It was sorry, they're just not ready for prime time yet. Maybe next year. You should be happy that we're even talking about the Commanders at the end of December.
Hey, it's the beauty of it.
Yep.
We won.
I'm still not going to count out the Lions either, even though how bad their defense is banged up.
Teddy Two Gloves, baby.
I mean, they can just outscore teams. They proved it again last week. I mean, I know it's the Bears. Of course, they're horrible. But everyone thought that the Bears might upset. What? They destroyed the Bears.
No, you're right. I mean, we say the Eagles, but you got Packers, Vikings, Lions,
Yep.
Commanders.
There you go.
But, and then you got teams like Tampa Bay that could get in that are dangerous. But I just think it's the most interesting NFL season in a long time.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Usually you can go in to the playoffs and maybe there's 3 teams that you really feel like are Super Bowl contenders. This year, I think, it could be one of 6 teams.
Imagine if it's like Chargers Commanders Super Bowl.
Could happen. I don't see.
My God, that would
Subscribe.
Yeah, send this down to some of on some Washington message board and get some subscribers.
Okay. I subscribe to the Chargers Commanders Super Bowl, that's for sure. I don't care who the hell we're playing. I'll take that.
Yeah, go ahead, put some money on it. You can right now.
Yeah. See? Now we're cooking. We're cooking with gas. So, all right, let's get out of here on that note. 2 shows next week, Monday, 11-ish. So we'll call it.
That'll be our last show of the year.
Yep, and then we'll be back at it again in 2025 at our normal time on
We'll
that
start
Thursday.
focusing on playoff action, although we're focused on college football playoff action
Yeah, so
on Monday.
yep. So we'll have a little special on that, and then back to our regularly scheduled programming after that. So appreciate everybody for listening and tuning in. Subscribe here on FingerLakes1.com, the YouTube channel, all major podcasting platforms, being Spotify, Amazon Music, and others. Good luck, everybody, this weekend, and we'll talk again on Monday.